I'm a single dad who lives with his 7-year-old daughter. I'll call Lena. She is a sucker for anything stuffed. She has a bunch of different stuffed dogs, cats, rabbits, you name it. But her absolute favorite was a fluffy pink teddy bear she got for her 5th birthday. She named him Mr. S. No clue what the S stands for. She carries around Mr. S everywhere she goes. Since the day she turned 5, you cannot catch her without it. Sometimes when my wife and I were together, we would have sneaked it from Lena in her sleep to wash it. She wouldn't break away from his teddy bear, ever. But I started notice something odd a month ago. My daughter will talk to her teddy bear. Yes, she's a child and children do kinds of odd things, but she wouldn't talk to Mr. S in this way you would think. She would speak absolute gibberish and praise the bear as if it was a god. My family isn't religious, but this was freaking me the fuck out. I didn't know what to think of the situation, but I let it be as she wasn't hurting anyone including herself. This wasn't Lena's only quirk though. Recently, she started collecting dead animals that she found outside. She wouldn't show them to me, instead trot them to her room and slip them whenever she kept them. I'll find random skulls of animals around the house with an assortment of other bones scattered wherever they could be. I've asked her about it once, and she said, "He likes it when I bring him gifts," with a childlike chuckle. I didn't ask anything else. I passed it off like it was a normal kid thing to say. But as the title says, Mr. S has started to smell awful. I work at a landfill, and even I have never smelled something so awful. I tried sneaking her teddy to wash it, but when I go into her room at night, I can't find it. Though, somehow she always exits her room with the teddy in her arms. The smell is awful, unbearable, but I can't get rid of it. I've never smelled anything like it. If I had to describe it, it smells like a rotten pig flesh, but even that smell isn't as unbelievably awful. I don't want to ask my girl about it, because she may take it in a bad way. She's only 7, so why not let her keep some of her imagination? But the thing that freaks me out the most is something I found last night. For background, you'll have to understand the way my daughter's room is set up. Her bed is in the corner, and she has a giant rug in the middle of her room. It has sparkles and unicorns on it. Typical 8-year-old shit. Other than that, she has her toys in various parts of her room with a giant pile of her favorite plushies. Well, I was cleaning up her room the other night, and while I was sweeping one of the shoes to her doll swept under the rug, I lifted up the rug to grab it and decided to check the other miscellaneous toy bits. When I lift up the rug, I see a giant pentagram written in what looks to be red ink. I take few steps back and stumble in fear. What the fuck is wrong with my daughter? Why the fuck would she have something like this? I go later that evening picking up my daughter from my ex-wife's house. I see her perky and cuddling Mr. S in her arms. Her teddy is a bit pinkier than the last time I saw it. But I said nothing to her in my car. As we are breaking up, she says, Daddy, I left Chewy inside." Chewy is the name of one of her plushes. Her mom was standing in the doorway, so I allowed her to hop out of the car and go grab her plushie. I noticed she left Mr. S. So I picked him up to investigate. He was wet, and when I shook it, it made a wriggling sound. A bit of what looked to be blood got onto my hand as I put him down. My child is 7 years old. Why does one of her plushies have blood on it, and enough for it to be red? She came back with her plushie and slipped into her boosted seat. I wish I could say that the rest of the drive was somewhat normal. But she started spewing gibberish at her teddy. I couldn't tell what she was saying, but it was praise. I took her home, plopped her in her bed, and kissed her a good night. A few hours later, when I came back to check on her before I head to my bed, Mr. S was gone. Not a trace in the world. Like he disappeared. Hey everyone, welcome back. This one was a short one, but I don't believe this story was that great. Like, I get it what the writer tried to do here. He tried to make a cliffhanger, but I don't believe that you do a cliffhanger like that. I believe I could have told you why this is a bad choice of a cliffhanging if we were talking in Turkish, but I don't believe my vocabulary is enough for this in English. Anyway, if you came this far and liked the story, please support me by giving me a thumbs up, leaving a comment, and subscribing to my channel. Until next time, sleep well.